Hello, people of the internet! Alex Colt here with, kind of a rant. This mostly has to do with why I've not been uploading videos for the longest time, and it's kind of a sad reason. It's not anything in my personal life, no one died or anything like that, it's just that I've kind of had a falling out with this game. War Thunder here. I used to love this game. In fact, it's still a great game. It is an amazing game. But it's run by some of the worst, most incompetent people that I have ever seen in my life. Gaijin has a problem, and that has nothing to do with the actual development staff of the game. It is all to do with the higher-ups in the company and the people making decisions, and the people that insist that instead of fixing problems, they should just blame whatever nonsensical reason they can find and ban people for pointing out those problems. Now, something happened a while back with, I believe it was Fly Daily, where he got a copyright strike on a video. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about just the community in general, and Gaijin's seeming disdain for all of us, especially anyone who tends to not like what they're doing. I am on the forums, I am on my fourth notification, my fourth quote-unquote warning for misappropriate conduct, which is less of a warning because every time you get a so-called quote-unquote warning, you get a ban. The fourth one is a 1-month ban. My fifth one, if I get a fifth quote-unquote warning, it will be a permanent ban from posting on the forums. So, what got me this fourth 1-month ban? Well, if you guys remember the H8K controversy, you know, this plane, the H8K2, which was a mass-produced version of the Japanese Emily flying boat. They had this in the tech tree for the longest time. It was in the proposed tech tree for the game. The proposed tech tree for the Japanese line. And when they announced it, there was a little thing hidden right at the bottom, kind of mixed in. The HHK will make a nice premium vehicle to the Japanese tree. The uproar was immense, absolutely large. Just there was hatred and flaming and ridiculous bigotry on the actual HHK thread. And yeah, some of these people deserve to get banned. But I got banned. You want to know what I got banned for? I got banned for one sentence and then a word. I said, quote unquote, begin quote here, Gaijin, stop being stupid, ... again, end quote. That is all I said. I said, Gaijin, stop being stupid again. Or no. Gaijin, you're being stupid again. This is after the HHK and after the FW189 and after the E100. The E100 actually caught me banned twice because, quite frankly, I was really ticked off when they announced that the E100 was going to be a special event vehicle that only a certain number of people would be able to get. And then the chance for you getting it would be locked behind a paywall. So you had to actually pay for a chance to get the E100 with no guarantee that you'd even get it. I just basically said, fuck off! Gaijin legitimately pissed me off there. I got banned twice over that. I was ranting and raving. I basically called them a bunch of idiots. Well, because they frankly are. But the H8K2 Emily fiasco was just ridiculous. They did eventually fix it, and I applaud them for actually fixing it. But they didn't need to have their moderators go on an all-out witch hunt for anyone disagreeing with them on the forums for something as simple as saying, Gaijin, you're being stupid. I mean, it's a legitimate word. Look up the definition of stupid. If you're calling the plan to implement the H8K or the H8K2 as a premium stupid, it means you're calling the plan to implement the H8K2 ill thought out and, quite frankly, a little wrong. Which it was. the premium version, or if they implemented the H8K2 as a premium, people would have left. Like, a large number of people, especially the Japanese players, would have just gone. You know, maybe not 10%, but here's the thing: 10%, or especially if you're on the forum, you love this freaking game. I've been on the forum almost constantly since forever. Even if I don't post YouTube videos, I'm usually on the forum in the suggestion thread, talking about something, usually having to do with B47 or something. But if you're on the forums, you genuinely care about this game. So even if someone comes on the forums to say, "Hey Gaijin, you're being a bunch of fucking retards," you should probably listen to them. If they took the time out of their day to come on and address the freaking problems that Gaijin seems to be having, Gaijin should at least listen to them. I don't care how they're saying it, it's what they're saying that's important. And if you got enough people telling you the same thing, maybe you should listen. That's just me. This is just gonna be a rant. It's gonna be an all-out rant, but I don't really care. I'm kind of done with this game. And another one of the things that just really pissed me off is them addressing players complaining about the physics. Note, when they said they are addressing players complaining about the physics, they're not addressing the actual problems that the game has with the physics engines here on the ground force. They're actually just saying, players, you're complaining too much, here's the reason why you shouldn't complain, and you should probably stop. Basically, they've threatened to take action against people just complaining about the physics engine. And all this has to do with is, well, how their physics engine works. And I can actually demonstrate it right here. In fact, this is basically the entire point of this video. Now, if you watch, the little M2 in front of me and my tank are kind of bouncing. And they're bouncing on a... Oh, goddammit. This is probably a bad place to show this off with a bad tank. I'm gonna get in something better. Something with armor that can actually bounce 45mm rounds. Ah! Player 2 has entered the game. Oh, people have found this game. Wonderful. Anyway. I can kind of show this off down here. And it all just has to do with how the physics engine actually recognizes contact between two vehicles. Because what's happening here, you can kind of see them bouncing. Like, tick, 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 tick. There's a rhythm. There's about 4 or 5 updates per second of the physics engine, and this is all because the physics are actually being handled client-side, while the server is actually updating the position of the vehicles. What's happening here as I push forward is I am moving forward my position, but his tank is not registering my positional movement until it updates in that quarter or 1/20th of a second. So what happens is my tank actually moves forward and his does not until it registers, and then you get that bit of a bounce. Basically what that means is you can get these glitches where you can push inside a tank because his position isn't updating while mine is for him, and then on the same side my position isn't updating but his is. So we're literally pushing inside of each other. And back in the early days of the tanks, the physics, frankly, you could actually work your way inside of another tank. They fixed a little bit of that. They've done something where there's actually an internal force pushing out. So as you push into another vehicle, it'll bounce you back with more force than you pushed into it. And that kind of helps. It's sort of a band-aid on the problem. But the problem is that physics are being done client-side. But what this basically means is your client physics and the positions of the tanks on the server never agree with each other, and because of that you kind of get jankiness. That's a technical term. Basically, the physics are never quite right. And when people complain about this, well, they are indemnibly hated and despised by the Gaijin staff, just because they don't like to fix their problems, especially when it's something that they would have to pour money to, because see, this problem is actually fairly easy to fix. You just have to switch physics to being client-side. They don't want to do that because that would cost money. or switch physics to server side. They don't want to do that because that would cost money, because then they'd have to upgrade the hardware on their servers. They'd have to increase the processing power to handle the influx of information from server side physics. They don't want to do that because that would cost them money and hurt their bottom line. So what they basically said, because they don't want to spend any more money on this game than they have to, is if you don't like the physics, shut the fuck up. We're not going to fix it. Here's the reason why. Oh yeah, the physics, by just explaining how the physics works and saying people complaining about the physics really have no reason to complain about the physics when, quite frankly, there's a problem with the physics in this game. You can't have accurate physics and accurate vehicle interaction if everything is client side, because the two clients on the other side will never agree. And this has just been a string of long, drawn-out mistakes from the Gaijin staff, and I hate them. They have easily and quite maliciously ruined a game that I have used to love. They've done it with a lot of vehicles. They've made premiums that kind of shouldn't be premiums. They've changed the cost of upgrading things that really shouldn't have been changed. So I'm going to be a bastard here because I want him dead. Like one of the things that they did when they upgraded the ground forces, or when they added the ground forces, was the actual crew skill tree for the ground forces. Now for planes, or if you don't know much about War Thunder, it's really simply this. If you're watching my channel, you probably know a lot about it. You can actually pay real money to upgrade the skill of your crew. I've actually done this on quite a number of my crew. Not all of them, but a good number of them have had it done. And it used to be that you'd be able to upgrade your pilot skills all the way to maximum with just 1,000 credits, about the equivalent of $5. $5 per crew member, that's not bad. Or $5 to get an entire plane maxed out is not bad at all. With tank crew, there are 6 of them. So it took about $6, or it takes about 6 times that to actually max out the crew of a tank. $30 per tank. How many tank crews do I have? I have the maximum allotted, I believe 11. That's $330 to upgrade all of my crewmen to maximum. I'm not gonna pay that money. Simply not. I never did. All the skills that I have on my tank crew, I've just worked up on my own. Is someone shooting me? Someone is shooting me. Oh, it's that guy. Oh, it's that guy, actually. Hold on. There we go. I love the noise of this gun. Yeah, it's sad just because this game plays great, and I love it, but I can't handle the ruthless amount of bullshit that Gaijin has been throwing at us. All because they don't want to actually listen to their community. They don't want to actually fix the long-term problems that this game has been having. Oh, that's an M26. I thought it was a T26. They would rather complain to their community who is complaining about their game. They think it's easier for them to fix their community than it is to fix their game. And that is the crux of the problem here. What they're not getting is the community pays their bills. So if they try to fix us, we're stubborn, we're gonna leave. In fact, that's basically what I've done. I'm gone. Gaijin can no longer consider me not a player anymore. If I ever play this game, it's on custom battles only because, or it's on custom battles, and I play it around here only because it's a decent tank and flight simulator. And I really have no desire to ever play a random battle ever again, so long as I live. They're just not fun. I just don't have fun with this game anymore. Unless it's just here in a private room where I can basically screw over anyone that I hate. That's the fun part, really. Kicking assholes. But, there's just... I've lost a lot of faith in this game. it's a shame too, because this game had so much potential. It still does, if the staff at Gaijin can get a grip on themselves and realize that, you know, if you don't listen to the community, and if you start lashing out at the community is going to leave. And you're going to be left with nobody in this game that you've spent so much of your life making. And I don't think you want your legacy to be a failed MMO. I mean, there are other options out there if we want to play a nice playing game. Granted, they're not great. World of Warplanes is a terrible piece of shit. But World of Warships isn't bad, and World of Warships is pretty good, and World of Tanks isn't too bad. I mean, if you wanted to play a nice tank simulator, World of Tanks is out there, and it's probably one of the most popular games on the internet right now. I think it's actually like 5th or something. War Thunder is somewhere in the area of 16th. Still pretty high, but what they've not been saying is that their numbers have dropped 30% in 1 year. And a lot of it has to do with the bullshit. Now, they will deny this religiously, but there is software. It's called Steam. I don't know if you know it. But on Steam, you can actually track the number of people playing War Thunder. And you can actually watch the little rises and dips from when they release patches and stuff. And you can just take it back all the way back to when they first introduced the game on Steam. And the number just went to massive. There's like 40,000 people online at a time. And then it just trickles down a bit and trickles down a bit and trickles down a bit. Or trickles down a bit. It raises up during the summer because, you know, the kids are off. But it's come to today when there's about 22,000 people online. This is from their peak of 42,000 back in 2015. Late 2015. It was when they introduced the American Ground Forces. That might have been 2014, I can't remember. When they introduced the American Ground Forces, the number, tanks, the number of people in the game spiked, but it's since dropped down to below when they actually introduced the game onto Steam in the first place. This is kind of not tenable for them. If they keep losing numbers like this, they're going to have to, they're going to have to at least do something. I think that's kind of what they're trying to do by forcing premiums onto the community that, well, they really shouldn't be premiums. Or having the E100 tournament where you have to pay to get a chance at the E100. Because they bring in a lot of money. They also generate a lot of hate for the game. But they do this instead of fixing problems. And there are a couple of indemnable problems with the game. It's the physics, it's the matchmaking system, it's the battle rating, and the fact that you can play 6.7 or BR 6.7 on a tank and take a Tiger 2, and you'll run into a what's the killer of the day? Leopard 1. That's pretty bad. Quite frankly, the T-54 has always been bad, but now it's just stupid since they've been in heat rounds. Oh yeah, the IS-8, or the T-10, whatever it's called, it's the same thing. So yeah, you can take a World War II tank and run it up right against a Cold War heavy tank. That World War II tank has a maximum penetration of 270 millimeters with an armor-piercing composite rigid round that's very bad against sloped armor. So you take it up against a Cold War tank that has sloped armor and a round with 400 millimeters of penetration. You don't last long. Tiger 2 dies a lot. This is just one of the problems that the game has. I can go on and on and on, but it's a problem that Gaijin just doesn't want to fix. They don't even want to address it. They don't even want to acknowledge that it exists, because them acknowledging it is a failure. Probably to their shareholders, probably to the oligarch that runs the company, but that's just I probably shouldn't have said that. I might cut that out. No, I won't. I'll leave it in. But yeah. Just problems. Just so many problems. This has basically just been a good long rant at this point, but I don't care. I need to get it off my chest. I need to go ahead and say goodbye to this game in some way, in some public way that makes some sort of sense. And I died. Just like that. Alright. This is Alex Colt, signing off. Goodbye, War Thunder. This will probably be my last War Thunder video ever. unless they change something. So, enjoy.